What I took away from the weekend was some of the core lessons was my son just loves to hang out. And I am a go person. I wanted to go see the waterfalls. Like I like to go on hikes. I like to find the thing to do. And Nathan is the opposite. He likes to sit and talk and chill. He likes to connect with me. That's what he wants. He wants to connect with his dad. And I'm always like antsy and want to go do things. So for me, that was a battle. I have to get myself to just sit here and be present, calm my racing mind, and focus on the child in front of me who unselfishly wants to connect with his father, and me selfishly wants to keep my active mind busy and go do something. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack. I just got back from a camping trip with my son, Nathan, and I'm going to take you through some huge realizations I had and improvements I can make as a father, like just flat out ways I can be a better father, and maybe you can take something from it. So I'm going to give you some stories from this weekend, some specific instances of times I was tested, times I didn't show up great, times I did show up great, and just everyday situations that we go through with our kids that we have to decide what we're going to be like. Like we have the option. We can decide who we're going to be in that moment. And this weekend was a perfect opportunity. So this past spring, I told both of my kids, I said, make a list of what you want to do this summer, and we're going to do it within reason. Nathan initially put like travel to England and, all that kind of stuff. So I said, let's hone this down and do things that we can actually do in the area, like go camping, like blank. So they both they wanted to camp with me individually. Lauren wanted to camp with me individually. Nathan wanted to camp with me individually. I went with Lauren individually early in the summer. I took Nathan on an amazing trip to Vegas to see some jiu-jitsu, and that was like our father-son trip, but hey, didn't count as camping, so I still owe him that promise. So the year's coming to an end. We're in fall. It's the middle of October. It's going to be snowing pretty soon. So I said, let's go get a cabin. So I just went on Google, searched for available cabins, found an amazing park called Yellow Creek State Park, and found a cabin that was available. We showed up. It's right on the lake. Most perfect fall day. Just absolutely beautiful leaves. I mean, here in Pennsylvania, we get some amazing fall foliage. It's just red, yellow, orange, like every color you can imagine, just so beautiful. And all of that's around us. Nice rustic cabin. They just renovated it, so it's beautiful on the inside. It has 2 bunk beds, a microwave, and that's it. And right outside a fire pit, we have a great view of the lake. We can just walk right down to the lake. And as soon as I pulled up, I could just feel myself relax immediately. It was just an immediate relaxation of everything. We go down to the lake, we're like, oh, look at the lake. We look at the cabin. He's calling Sarah and wants to show them how cool the cabin is. He's looking at the campfire. He's like, look at this thing, Dad. It's really showing me everything. And then he goes and we go back to the truck. He's unpacking everything. But we went back from the lake, went up to the house, and Nathan is like fixing his bed to make it, for optimal fun for the weekend, putting his toys here, setting the snacks up here, and just super excited about everything. Then we go down to the lake, and just perfect. There's rocks everywhere. So I was like, well, let's skip some rocks because it's beautiful and the water's not moving. And he was doing the skipping rocks frisbee style, which everyone knows is the wrong way to do it. You got to do it this way. So I had to teach him how to skip rocks that way and get his elbow in. So we worked on that, taught him how to skip the rocks, and then for the rest of the day, he just wanted to hang out. I asked him if he wanted to go somewhere because there's waterfalls close to the park, but he said no, he just wants to hang out. So we got some camp chairs. We sat by the lake. We just talked. We went back up to the campfire, made a fire, taught him how to make fires. I brought this one camping knife. I realized we didn't pack any utensils besides tongs. So the entire weekend we just used a big camping knife for our fork and spoon and knife, and we were like making PB&Js with this giant camping knife. There was an old bench right next to the campfire. It was falling apart, so we were just like throwing. I taught him how to throw the camping knife and stick it in the wood. So he was doing that all weekend. I realized one of the classic man skill is being able to burp letters and words, and he didn't know that. I learned that from my older brothers. My older brother, he has no older brother. He's the oldest brother, and he has, his cousins don't do that. So I was like, I got to teach this to you, because it just randomly came up. He was like, Dad, do you know how to burp words? I think he saw it on a YouTube video or something. I was like, of course I do. And I burped a word. He's like, how do you do that? So you don't know how to do that? Oh yeah, my older brother John taught me how to do that. So I was trying to teach him how to do it, and I was like, man, this is an extremely technical skill. I was like, you got to suck in, the tongue has to hit the roof of your mouth, and you got to force an air bubble down. And then I was like, I never thought about this in this technical of a way of how to teach someone how to burp a word or how to force a burp. So I tried to teach him. I was unsuccessful at that, but we'll keep on working at it. So that's what most of our time was full of. It was just hanging out, and then he wanted to go play. I was like, we had a little bit of downtime, and he was like, hey, Dad, you want to go play hide and seek? And I didn't want to play hide and seek, but I did play hide and seek, and we had a good time. I'll talk about how I got myself to be able to play hide and seek and have a good time. That's something I'm working on. And then he's like, let's play tribes people. I was like, let's not get canceled here. But he's like, let's play tribes people. So he wanted to he was like, you'll be Black Hawk and I'll be Blood. And he wanted, he's 10 years old, about to turn 11, but he still wanted to do these things. And this is one of the lessons that I had, was appreciating how young he still is. So I was like, all right, sure. And we were making fun of each other, giving each other stupid names, and then we were chanting. I didn't take any pictures of this or videos, but he took his hoodie off, so he was bare chested, wrapped it around his head, and he was making noises. And he was like, Dad, you do it. I was like, okay. And so I did the same thing. And he wanted to march around the campground like that. I was like, I won't do that, but I will march around our cabin like this. So it was me and Nathan, no shirt on, hoodies around our head, marching around, chanting. We had a dance party at night inside the cabin. He loves dancing, so I got this Bluetooth speaker, and we were just playing music and dancing. I got this projector from an auction site, so we downloaded some movies, put that on my phone, and then we watched some movies at nighttime. This great movie on Netflix called Pixels by Adam Sandler. I would recommend that. What I appreciated the most, what I took away from the weekend, was some of the core lessons. Was my son just loves to hang out, and I am a go person, where if I'm on a trip, I like to do things. I like to run. I like to I wanted to go see the waterfalls. I like to go on hikes. I like to find the thing to do. And Nathan is the opposite. He likes to sit and talk and chill. He likes to connect with me. That's what he wants. He wants to connect with his dad. And I'm always antsy and want to go do things. So for me, that was a battle. It was, I have to get myself to just sit here and be present, calm my racing mind, and focus on the child in front of me who unselfishly wants to connect with his father, and me selfishly wants to keep my active mind busy and go do something. Because throughout the day, that's what it is for me. It's I wake up early, I've got my routine, then I'm time blocked throughout the day, and it's boom, 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 and I'm doing shit all day. And my kids get home, and I got stuff with them. So for this, it's it was, 2 nights. As soon as we showed up, I promised him no messages, no posting, no emails, nothing besides taking pictures and videos. We weren't on the phones or anything like that. And it was just really connecting with him. So that was a challenge for me. It was, can I slow myself down? But I was very happy that I was able to do that. So here's one of the things that as I was reflecting on. I learned this through journaling this morning. I was looking back on the pictures and videos I took. I was journaling as I was looking at the pictures and videos, because it was bringing up memories that I forgot. And I know that if I allow this weekend to go without journaling about it, there's going to be so many little moments that I'll forget forever. So I had to write down immediately, oh yeah, this happened. Oh yeah, this happened. One of the little moments I didn't want to forget was me and Nathan went to a restaurant to eat lunch, because we didn't pack anything for lunch for that day. And we went into it was this old 100-year-old Italian restaurant in this little city of Clymer by the Indiana University of Pennsylvania College. So we went to this place. We both went to the bathroom, and this guy walks in, and Nathan loudly says, "Hey, Dad, remember to wash your hands." Just said it just to screw with me so the guy could hear, so I'd be embarrassed. So then I got him back and said, "Hey, Nathan, this time remember you have to wipe your butt." And I said that, and he flipped out. He was laughing, but like punching me in the back as I said that as we both left the bathroom, and he couldn't get over the fact that I said that in front of somebody about him wiping his butt. I was like, "Dude, you do it to me, I'm gonna get you 10 times back. Like 10 times worse. I have to. I'm your dad." But like I didn't want to forget about that little moment, so I made sure I wrote that down. And one of the best things I've ever done is from the time my kids were little, when they did something noteworthy or funny, I just kept a little journal of it. I said, I don't want to forget this story. I don't want to forget this thing they did. And I remember on our Vegas trip, me and Nathan went to Gordon Ramsay Burger like at 1 a.m. in the Caesars Palace Casino. It was awesome, another awesome trip. And I pulled out my phone, pulled out my journal. I was just reading him back these stories of him when he was little, and he just absolutely loved it. But back to one of the lessons that I learned, and that is Nathan's almost 11 now. He's turning 11 in January. And here's something that's extremely important. So Nathan asked me to play hide and seek. I didn't want to play hide and seek because we were just moving all day. Like we just finally sat down. I was like, let's just chill a little bit. So yeah, look, in this situation, Nathan wanted to do something. I wanted to chill. But he was like, let's play hide and seek in the campground. Didn't want to do it. Did do it. Eventually, had fun doing it, was present with him, and did a good, showed up as the father I wanted to be at that moment, played hide and seek with Nathan. But what I realized is, and I'm still working through this concept, guys, so this is not going to be 100% clear. So I apologize for that, but I was journaling about it this morning. And that is, our kids change very quickly from 0 to 10, right? Nathan's 10. From the day he's born, 0 to 10 years old, within 10 years, he's a massively different person. So when he's 1 year old, like I look back, he was the cutest baby in the world. 1-year-old, red hair, just super cute, hilarious. He was like dancing from the day he was born. Whenever a 1-year-old kid asks you to do something, you don't have to force yourself to give energy in that moment. You don't have to think I need to really show up right now. Like at least for me, like when I hold a little baby, I'm just like, you just naturally like oohing and eyeing and cooing, and it just, they pull energy out of you. You don't have to try whatsoever. You're just like, oh my goodness, and you can just do whatever they want. It's even like the same thing with Lauren, my 8-year-old daughter. She's so damn cute. She asks me for anything, and I just like, oh, okay, Lauren, because she's so cute. She just melts my heart. I give her everything. And like I said, I'm still working through this. So our kids at certain ages will naturally pull energy from us, and it's so easy to show up as a great father. As they get older, they change so quickly. And what I am observing is I'm trying to observe within myself, how am I looking at them, speaking to them, acting with them? What is my energy towards them as they change so rapidly over these years? So how am I talking to Nathan as a 10-year-old versus if he was 1-year-old? Like if he asked me as a 2-year-old, hey, Dad, can we play hide and seek? What would my response have been? How would it be different than from what it was now, him asking me as a 10-year-old? So try to follow me with this. So if a cute 3-year-old, your child as a cute 3-year-old asked you to do something, how would you respond to them versus if they were 10 years old, not as cute? And if maybe they were just a little less confident about it, like Nathan kind of unconfidently asked me to play tag with him. He's like, hey, Dad, you think we could, play hide and seek? And because I think part of him thought that I would say no. So he was a little unconfident asking him about it. If he was a 3-year-old, he probably would have just said, hey, Dad, let's play hide and seek. And I'd be like, all right, man, let's go. And I would have picked him up and ran and just given him so much energy. I didn't want to do it now, him as a 10-year-old. So I had to consciously think, Chris, you don't want to do this right now, but Nathan does. Get up and play hide and seek. That's the difference. It's now him as a almost 11-year-old. I had to consciously say, get up and play hide and seek versus if he would have asked me as a 2-3-year-old, I would have loved to have done it. You know what I mean? So, and here's the thing. This is something I'm consciously working on that I was journaling about today. So I'm not horrible at it. But I do know, like, if you're not thinking about this at all, What is your child observing of you over their brief period of time as they are changing so much? Like if I met a guy today and he became my best friend and we hung out over the next 10 years, the way he interacts with me and talks to me would probably be pretty similar now to 10 years from now, right? Like we'd talk to each other the same. He wouldn't be having this massive change over the next 10 years. If he had the same job, whatever, like we'd still be talking the same way. How do our kids see us over their 10 years from 0 to 10 or 8 to 18? How are we changing the way we're interacting with them as they are aging? It's probably massively different. I remember a specific year whenever me and my wife looked at each other and we looked at Nathan, we're like, oh my God, he's like not a toddler anymore. We're like, holy shit, he's not this like cute little bumbling little kid who's just like falling over. Like he's you can see big boy characteristics in his face and the way he's talking. Like, so just naturally, we respond to people based on how they respond to us, right? It's just natural. If someone talks to me like an older person, I'm gonna talk to them like an older person. If a little baby's cooing and cawing at me, I'm gonna coo and caw at the little baby. It's just natural. So from our kids' perspective, how differently are we talking to them over their years of change? Like imagine if I'm 37, if from 37 to 38, all of a sudden Sarah just completely changed the way she talked to me. And her energy level, her facial expressions, the enthusiasm with which she talked to me, it changed drastically in 1 year. I'd be like, what the f*** is going on? Do we do that with our kids as they age? I'm like, for me, it's like, yes. Some of that's, it's natural though. I'm going to speak to Nathan when he's 18 differently than I am when he's 2. But can some of those things stay the same? Like, if we're thinking about it, can some of those traits, attention, energy of me speaking to my son as he's aging, can that be the same as if he was 2, 3 years old? Like, I'm going to use different words, different tonality when I'm talking to Nathan when he's 18 versus when he's 2. But here's the thing I can control, like, the attention I give him, the presence I give him, the energy I give him, the enthusiasm of doing what he wants to do. Am I going to let that change as my kids age? Like I gave that simple hide-and-seek story. If Nathan asked me, I did it, but I had to get myself to do it. If he was 2 years old and asked me to play hide-and-seek, I would have jumped out of my seat and been like, yes. Like I imagine myself as a 60-year-old man living with Sarah and all my kids are moved out and I have grandkids. What if I could just transport myself back to when my son was 2 years old and he was like, hey, Dad, do you want to play hide and seek? You know, I'd probably pay, if I had the money, I'd give like $1 million to be able to do that. But here we are living with them right now with that opportunity. And then as they age, watching ourselves, like from the kids' perspective, I'm wondering if they could verbalize it. I wonder if they would be thinking like, why does my dad not want to play with me when just a couple years ago this is what we did every single day? Like, why isn't he as excited to do this whenever just a couple years ago he was so excited to play with me? Being that it's as simple as they just look older and we're like, oh, you still want to play hide and seek? You still want to play blank? So here's what I did. Nathan asked me about playing hide and seek. I had the realization, right? I said yes, I started to do it, but I also kind of did it my way. I said, I'll play hide and seek with you, but as I'm playing hide and seek with you, like I'm still going to be myself. And whenever I did that, it made me have more fun and gave me more energy, and it also just gave Nathan more authentic version of myself, and he ended up having more fun. Like I didn't want to change myself, even for Nathan. Like I didn't want to change myself for anyone. So I didn't want to change who I was to do this thing. Because there's a difference between changing who you are and realizing that you're being selfish to somebody else. So we played hide and seek. We did the tribesman thing. We we did, burped and farted and did manly things the entire weekend. But this concept that I'm trying to work through is, I think, for me, the biggest lesson of the weekend, because I would just realize that the next 8 years, whenever he comes home today and he's talking to me, I'm going to be thinking about this. And I'm going to be thinking, monitor your energy, your facial expressions, your tone right now. If he's asking you to do something, if he was 2 years old, would you be responding to him differently? Not like the words you're using, but your willingness to do what he wants to do. Another thing I observed over the weekend was how much my son wanted to impress me and how much he really wanted my approval and attention. I remember as a kid wanting to impress my parents, and it's amazing when they recognize you for it, and it hurts really bad whenever they just skip over it. So, for example, on the way up to the campsite, for weeks Nathan was talking about what we were going to watch on our phone, and we've been watching Dave Portnoy One Bite Pizza reviews for months now. We're obsessed with him because he came to Pittsburgh the other day and did some, so then we started watching. So Nathan, he was in charge of the playlist. He was in charge of downloading these videos that we could watch at night and on the way up. So he did that. And he mentioned to me 3 or 4 times, "Hey, Dad, did you like the playlist I made? Hey, Dad, did you like the playlist I made?" So simple, something I could so easily have overlooked. So I just made sure throughout the weekend, I told him 4 or 5 times, "Man, you made the best playlist like ever. Like you picked the perfect videos for us to watch." And just that, he's like, "Really?" He lit up, he looked at me, smiled. It meant so much to him. Just that little thing. Then we were making food. We had some flank steak, had some good stuff, and then he brought peanut butter and jelly, one of his favorite foods. So he wanted to make me a peanut butter jelly. I said, "Sure, make me a PBJ." Made me a PBJ with our camp knife, toasted the bread, and he just like sat down and watched as I ate it. And I was like, "Man, Nathan, you are now the toast guy for the rest of the weekend. And whenever we go camping in a couple of weeks to Ryerson with our friends, you're gonna be the toast guy there too." I said, "This is the best peanut butter jelly I think I've ever had." He's like, "Are you serious?" It's like, "Yeah." But he loved it so much. And then whenever we came home, he was like, "Hey, Mom, guess what Dad said?" He said, "That's the best peanut butter jelly I've ever had." And he just like loved it so much that he was the PB&J guy, that he was the camp toast guy. And a little situation that I could gloss over, but I could make him feel really special. And as I was realizing over the weekend, like he wants jobs, he wants opportunities to prove himself. He wanted me to, after I taught him how to skip rocks, he wanted to show me how good he was at skipping rocks. After I taught him how to throw knives in the bench, he wanted to show me how good he was at throwing the knives in the bench. And I could gloss over this. I could ignore him. I could say, "Yeah, not a big deal," or I could make him feel good because that's what he's after. He wants to know his dad thinks he's awesome. He wants my approval. He wants me to think he's a cool guy. He wants to impress me. So me as his father, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give you the emotion you want right now. Like, you want me to say you're awesome? I'm going to say you're awesome." Like, and it makes him feel so good. We came home on Sunday. Sunday's like our pizza night in our backyard. So I'm 10 years into making pizzas in my pizza oven, so I'm damn good at it. Nathan has been asking me all the time, "Can I make pizza? Can I make pizza?" So I've been gradually working him in, because if you screw up this pizza, it's like a big fiasco. Like the dough goes in the pizza oven, then I got to scrape it out. It's a whole thing. So I was like, "Yeah, you can do it." So I had him pound the dough out, put the sauce, put the cheese on. Then he wanted to put the pizza in the oven, which is a hard part because then it can get all screwed up. So I said, "Yeah, go ahead and do that." So he puts the pizza in the oven. Turns out pretty good. We take it out. He could not get over the fact that he made this pizza, because it's part of our family. Like, we've been making pizza since the day he was born, and it's like, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm a pizza man." So he pulled out this pepperoni pizza, put it on, and he was like showing Lauren, showing my friend that was over, showing me. He asked my wife to take a picture of him next to the pizza he made, and it meant so much to him that he could do this. He wanted to impress us. He wanted to show us that he could do something. When we were at the campsite, I asked him to clean up, and to clean it, to organize the truck. He did that, and he wanted to show me how good of a job he did. He's looking for jobs to do. He's looking to be independent, and he's looking to impress me. He wants my approval. So, well, I'm bringing this up because if I don't acknowledge this part of what he wants, it could really, really hurt him, right? Like if he, just for these simple little things we can ignore. I could be staring at my phone, or I could be acknowledging that, yeah, man, Nathan is looking at you right now. He wants you to know that he did a good job. And I choose to give that to him. You might think that's overkill. That's fine. That's what I choose to be for him. Like I want to be that warm presence for him where I can make him feel that way. And I think because I constantly do that, they come to me for those things. But I'm constantly looking to do that for him. But as I look back on these videos and pictures of interacting with my kids, of interacting with Nathan, that is, I'm always going to take the hit. You know, there's a lot of different opinions on taking the hit. You know, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to teach discipline. You need to show your kid who's boss, all that. None of it's worth it to me. I look and I'm just watching how much Nathan loves me, how much he wants my approval, how much he wants to impress me. And I just imagine in what situation would it be worth me to crush him? No situation. Well, what if he says something insulting to you? Man up. You can take it. It's not worth it. He's a child. He can't control himself. You can control yourself. Take the hit. You know, oh, what if he's going crazy and he's screaming and okay. Well, he's gonna match your level of emotional control. If you're impatient, if you can't handle yourself, your son's gonna mimic that. Here's a situation. I'm a trained saxophonist. I went to college for music. Okay, so I'm really good at saxophone and music. Nathan plays bass. I went to college for it, did it professionally. There was days in college where I'd practice 6 to 8 hours at a time, little repetitive things, until my lips were bleeding, okay? I've got decades of years of this under my bones and patterns. Nathan's 10 years old trying to learn the bass. Whenever he doesn't grasp a concept that I've just like decades into my fingers and bones, I can get frustrated. I can get a little impatient and be like, well, why don't you just understand this thing? Nathan will get impatient with the thing he doesn't understand. Then I will get impatient that he's getting impatient. And then I get mad that he's impatient. Ever happened to you? Yeah, I realized that the other day, last week, when I was teaching him bass. I was like, you f***ing idiot. Why are you getting mad that he's impatient when you're the one getting impatient? It was like an impatient spiral. You know, I was like, well, I wonder where he learned the impatience from. And you're getting mad that he doesn't understand something you went to college for. Like, relax. It's okay. But it was innate within me. I remembered, it took me back to my teacher days. I was like, why don't you just get this thing? It's just right here. It's so natural to me, and he couldn't do it. So he was getting impatient. Then I was getting impatient. He was getting impatient. And because of, like, I was transferring my emotion to him. What I write about. Like, I was transferring my impatience to Nathan. Had I been able, and I was working on it in the moment, guys. I was trying to calm myself, realized what was happening, but I there was times I couldn't do anything about it. But it was my fault. I'm not going to say it wasn't my fault. It was 100% my fault. Had I had more control, had I been more patient, none of that would have happened. It's like when our kids are screaming and we start screaming at them. And we're like, why are you screaming? As we're screaming. We're screaming, why are you screaming? And you can realize this and have zero control over the situation. You can realize what you're doing and still do nothing about it. Like, because physically you have such a strong pull where you need to release so badly where you just cannot control yourself. I understand. I've been there. Then you got to think, well, what can I do about this? It's nothing where I tell you to do something and you switch right now. And I realize with myself, it's the person I must become. I must become a more controlled, more disciplined, more emotionally in control person. How? By talking about it. How? By practicing daily disciplines. How? By keeping promises to myself every single day. That's how I can do it. Not by, oh, I said this, I had this realization today, so everything's going to be perfect from now on. No. I know the next time I try to teach bass to Nathan and he gets impatient, I'm going to feel that heat come up into my chest. I'm like, and I'm going to have the same thing. So it's going to be by daily practice. But I will always, to go back to like the overarching thing, that is, I'm always going to take the hit. And whenever I make posts about this on Instagram, I always get some comments from people that are, well, you got to, you have to put the kid in their place. You can't take disrespect. I'm not saying you should allow your kid to be disrespectful. I'm saying that there's nothing that my kids are going to do that is going to cause me to permanently harm them and crush them. There's nothing. Ever.